went searching through the internet and I came across Keto Trainer, and I contacted you and I said, right, let's go and do the 3-month training. And I still remember initially we've had some very emotional conversations. You know that, Max, because it's really difficult. You struggle, especially when you're struggling with weight. There are all these emotions attached to it, because one is you feel hopeless and helpless because you know that you're not being able to do something to help yourself, or rather be somewhere where you really want to be. So you showed me the mirror and you gave me some harsh truths, and I would cry on the phone, and it was tough. But I think what was really interesting is, and what really worked for me, is that you took me along with baby steps. And even with the harsh truths, you were always there and always feeling like, yeah, I may, look at me as a family member, look at me as a brother, because I may tell you this, but it's coming from a place of love. So I think that was really comforting to know that, and that allowed me to open up. It allowed me to open up slowly, share things with you, realize that tough love is important. And slowly, as the goals, you start achieving goals and you start seeing results, and that things are changing and your mindset is really changing, is when you actually start to see the light at the end of the tunnel a little bit. And I think that was really good. Just understanding that don't be in a rush. Everything that I've done in the past was rushing, yo-yo dieting. I have an event in a month, so let's get on to the GM diet and do that. So I think that was one of the big lessons for me is, time can be your enemy or it can be your friend. And really understanding that, if you want to make a change, you got to give it time, and don't be in a rush. And I think the amazing thing is I still did hit my short-term goals, even though I had short-term goals, but having a long-term vision. And that's probably the biggest thing that, 365 days into this whole thing, was since I started with you, I've been keto, and I never thought I can do that.
Have you ever in your life, number one, gone that far? Number two, you could actually think you can go that far in a diet?
Never. The honest answer was I've never gone that far, and I never thought a year back that I can, because the mindset was very different. The mindset was that of a diet, right? And I think it's learning that it's about finding a way of eating, or finding a new lifestyle that actually works for you. And in fact, I'll actually tell you this, Max. I haven't told you yet, but I just had a conversation with my GP this afternoon, and I just did routine blood work. And on the phone, I was having a teleconsult with her, and she said it's all fabulous. Like 2 years ago, you had iron deficiency, you had this, you had that, but when I'm comparing your results from 2 years ago to now, everything is perfect. Your cholesterol is low. I just want to say, people who think fat increases cholesterol,
Oh my God.
your cholesterol is low, your iron is fine, your D is in fact even better. And it's really funny because usually, she said, Indian people kind of tend to have a vitamin D deficiency. She's like, it's all good, full seal of approval. So I said, I have to probably share this.
Wow, that is, I can't believe you didn't tell me this earlier. It's so
So
exciting. I
I
can't
just
believe it.
literally finished talking to her
Oh,
at like an
wow.
hour
I'm
ago.
so proud of you. I really am. Like, you're absolutely right. The honest truth is that when we first started, we had to have very difficult conversations.
Yeah.
And, but I knew that somewhere inside, that the Pratima that wants to be the best, the healthiest, the strongest was always in there, but it was always hidden by, like what you used to tell me, the good, the bad, the angel and the devil.
Yeah.
The good and bad. You always seem to be defeated by the devil, but the angel never did come out. And I think that it's such a testimony to your real character, because you yourself didn't know who real Pratima was.
Yeah.
It was failure upon failure, and that's destructive, because it makes you think that you are never capable now of reaching what you wanted, because so many failures, it just makes you feel hopeless.
Yeah.
And I remember the first conversation we ever had, you were literally telling me I want to do it, but I felt zero hope. I almost felt that you were just coming because you just wanted to, you felt obliged to try, just to try. But I didn't believe for a second at the beginning that you actually thought you can get where you are today.
Yeah.
And I always say this, Prats, I don't brag about how much I can help people lose weight. I'm only satisfied and only fulfill my job when I make the person never quit. And it's about how long I can make the person go for.
Yeah.
Because now that you understand, what nobody else understands this, but the longer you go, the better you look. But the problem is nobody likes to go the longer distance.
Yeah.
Because in reality, they don't know what they want. I have this problem all the time when people call me up and say, what is your goal? And honestly, I never get a straight answer. It's, for some reason, it's this really dark area where people just can't say, I want to be skinny. It's almost hard to say. And they say, oh, I want to be healthy. Oh, I want to be able to go exercise again. But really, nobody actually wants to say it. And you know why? Because I think that to say I want to be skinny, they know it's a long process. But nobody's willing to admit that if I'm a size 20, I am not going to be a size 8 in 3 months. It's just not going to happen. But they don't want to admit that. And I think now that you are way past that, and your maturity level, which I call diet maturity, is so high. There's one more question I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
Do you think the nature of keto diet helped you become the monster you've become today?
Yeah, I mean, I think 100%. One is because, you know, when you do any other diet and you're compromising on certain foods, and, you know, even if you just look at the basic science of keto, right? A traditional diet, the first thing that you do is remove carbs from your body. So you're constantly hungry and you're constantly pissed off because you've removed that key energy source. So you can only go so far, and you're really relying on willpower. And, you know, it's like every day, every hour is a battle. I know I've done so many of those diets. And you're just like, okay, I've made it through today. And then the next battle starts, and the next battle. But sooner or later, you're going to give in. Maybe you finish those 10 days of GM, but then what happens? You go back to everything that you've been deprived of in those 10 days. And you feel like you have to make up for all that lost time. And then you kind of have adverse effects. Whereas with keto, I think the key is obviously because you're so nutritionally satisfied, you're having fats, you're having things that are not making you hungry, you go through hour to hour really easily. And I've told you this, you know, at various points as well, Max. I said, you know, I've actually found it easy. It's not been a chore. It's not been difficult. I haven't felt like, oh my God, I'm deprived. And at the same time, you know, you taught me to really listen to your body. So you have strong days. And I think this is something that I want to tell everyone. You know, don't freak out when you don't have strong days, because when you start looking at this as a long-term thing, as a lifestyle change, you do realize that you have strong days and, you know, weekdays and strong weeks and maybe a weak month even. And that's okay. Because if you have that weak month, there's a lot going on in your life and you do want to enjoy your keto treats, go for it. I have. But then, you know, a few weeks get over and I'm like, well, I'm back and I'm stronger and I make sure that my foods are cleaner. So it's really not a diet. It's about, right, the health of it. Make sure that your foods are clean, or, you know, you can have a few treats here and there and go for the slightly not so cleaner things. But finally, at the end of the day, you don't fall off and you're not eating the sugars and you're not eating the flour and the carbs, which is unhealthy at the end of the day. So anyway, to answer your question, Max, I think definitely it is keto. And you know what? I've told you this, but keto foods are yummy. Like, you get to enjoy the best part about foods. I eat pizza toppings all the time, and my husband gets all my crusts. So he's doubling up his carbs, but I'm getting like, double of all the good stuff. Who doesn't want the cheese and the pepperoni and all that? Who doesn't want the cream and the bacon? So I've loved it. I think the foods are really good.
So you didn't feel hungry at any stage like you usually would on other diets? You didn't feel debilitated and you felt sorry for yourself that you're missing out? Were you ever hungry? Were you ever constantly going back and forth to the fridge, seeing what you can eat? Did you ever count calories?
No, and I think that's another really important tip, right? Is just let it be, let it be at the background. That's another thing that I learned from you, is don't track. I mean, yeah, sure, do it for the first few weeks just so that you get an understanding of, what are the portion sizes and everything. But I don't think I've ever tracked in this 1 year. It's all at the back of my mind. I know I go to a restaurant, I want to have a piece of chicken or I want to have halloumi, I can. And yeah, well, maybe I've had half a piece over my macros, but so what? It,
Awesome.
it doesn't matter. And that's what's made this entire experience really easy. And I think it's important to even talk about my trip to India.
Oh,
Because
yes.
for me,
We worked together when you went to India too.
yeah. And this was, I mean, I think this was a really big win for me. So probably 6 months into, and that was my short-term goal actually, my first short-term goal, because I actually panicked and, wanted to start a diet and do that because I had a wedding in India. And which is when I started with Mags. But 6 months down the line, when I was getting ready for India, Max kind of made sure, and he said, you're going for a month to India and you're going to be around family, you're going to be around food, you're going for a wedding. So this is really the first kind of big test that's going to happen. So for a few of the sessions before I actually left for India, coaching with Mags, giving me options, trying to talk about all the different things that I can have. And trust me, in 30 days in India, I love my Indian food. I love my butter naans and, vada pavs and all that stuff. But in 30 days, I stayed keto. I enjoyed all the Indian food without touching the sugar and the bread. And I think that boils down to two things. One is, yes, coaching. Kind of Max really making me understand, going back to all these points of it being long term. So big deal. I've, lived in India so many years of my life. Whatever, doesn't matter. I've had it. Why do I need it now? Focus on the goal. And second was meal prep. I was meal prepped. I had all my foods. And I actually remember Max told me, he's like, I think 2 days before I was getting onto a plane, I was like, but what do I do? It's a 16-hour flight and there's this, play all this food. And Max was like, okay, go to Woolies, buy 10 bars of chocolates, buy pork crackle, get, cream cheese, get all this stuff. And I actually went and I got all this stuff and packed it in my bag. And I said, okay, I'm going to have this. I didn't have any of it. I didn't, because I didn't want it.
Because you can, but you decided not to.
Yeah. Because I can. And I had everything there. And, I had my staples that I would, like a little grandma, put it in my Ziploc bag and keep it in my purse. So wherever I went, I had my wrap and I enjoyed it with the best curries. So I think that really gave me the confidence that if I can do 30 days in India on a trip, have a blast, come back skinnier than when I left.
That's what we aim. Remember how I told you? I said, don't come back until you're skinnier. Remember? And I said to you, we're not going to see your photos or anything. Yeah. I want to see a surprise when we go back, and you achieved it.
Yeah.
So, and this is what I love about what you've done, Prats. It's now somebody with your personality and all the wins you've had and all the battles you've won. Do you feel that it is literally impossible for you to ever go back to that life because of what you've achieved so far? Is it harder? Like if you're talking to the general public now, going one step on top, on top, on top, and climbing the ladder. Is it, once you get there, is it hard to accept to go back where you were? Is it even possible?
I mean, I think there are a couple of things to this. I know I'm going to sound a little negative right now, and I shouldn't say I hope not. But I think it's become more than just the way to fit, Mags. I mean, I think it's the freedom. It's the freedom of being able to eat in a certain way and not think about it. It's the freedom to eat certain kinds of food that actually are really yummy. I mean, yeah, okay, sure, there's a little bit of compromise because, who doesn't like a nice buttered croissant? Really, it's good. But I mean, finally, at the end of the day, it's a very small compromise to the freedom of, like I said, that, I've had my plateaus and I've sat like 2 months on maintenance, not losing any weight. But even that for me is such a big freedom, because I don't think, if I look at the last 15, 20 years of my life, I don't think I've been able to go 2 months without putting on weight. I mean, it would still, if I wasn't doing something drastic, or if I wasn't exercising like a mad woman, then the scales were always going up. And right now, I have the freedom to know that I want to take a little bit of a break. I'm traveling and I'm going to be away for 2 months, and I don't want to be, kind of making sure that every macro is perfect. I can, and I'm not going to put on weight. I'm just going to be right there, and I'm going to come back 2 months later and then start the next phase of what I need to do to reach my ultimate goal. So I
Did
think
you have to
that's
exercise
beautiful.
at all?
Sorry?
Did you have to exercise at all? Did you have to exercise at all in this period that you've been with me to lose
I
any
haven't.
body fat? Okay.
I haven't. In the last 2.5 months, I've been walking, especially because of COVID, and it's more about just getting out of the house. So I'm trying, and because you don't get any other exercise, so I've been making sure that at least 4 or 5 days of the week I go out and I get a walk, at least half an hour to or 1 hour walk. But I haven't exercised, like, no
Fantastic.
intent. Yeah.
I don't want to take any more time. I thank you so much. And I want to tell you something, and I don't want it to sound like I'm belittling your personality or your person, but I feel, and I'm just saying it like in all modesty, that I just saw at, how do I say it in a polite way without having to be rude and sound rude,
Don't be
but
rude,
almost,
man.
almost when you came to me, you're a child, and now you're a woman. Do you know what I mean? And I'm only talking obviously from the point of view of food
Yeah.
and self-belief. Anyone that sees you now, you look like a beautiful, confident, empowered person. But that's what you achieved, not me. End of the day, Pratt, I could only tell you what I can say.
Yeah.
We actually never met in person because we're in different states.
Yeah.
But it was really up to you to take what I'm saying to you and apply it. So end of the day, I can be as good as I am or bad as I am. End of the day, really, it's your decision. On top of that, you've been so gracious and so classy to the point that you might take things that I'm saying to you offensively, but you never did. Because a lot of people might take criticism as, why are you telling me that? You're being rude. That's really rude. Who do you think you are? But none of that ever happened. You always managed to take what I said on board, and you took it in such a classy way, and you used that to your advantage. You took that and made it into your own, and you became the person you are today. And I'm so proud. And it's because of people like yourself that I wake up every morning, and it makes me love my job, because there is the product.
Yeah.
It's all about making a person believe in themselves. And this is coaching for you to go forward. It's not about how long it takes. It's about never coming off the train.
Yeah.
All right. Nobody achieves anything in life quickly, and whatever happens quickly goes quickly. But whenever it comes to weight loss and dieting, people cannot wait. That's the problem. Thank you so much for giving this testimony. Thank you so much now for being an example. I told you when we first met that one day you were going to be an example. And one day people are going to look up to you. And one day people are going to say, I want to be like her. You've done it. It's not finished.
It's not
For me, it's 5 years. And during COVID, okay, 10 weeks right now, I'm bike riding every day, which I've never done in my life.
Yeah.
What this is all about, Prats, is going forward for you. Never, ever be happy with what you reach.
Yeah.
Go further. If any basketball player or a cricket player at one stage in their career said, I am the best, they will stop training. Once they stop training, somebody else will catch up. But what makes them the best and what makes them an icon forever is that there is not a day they wake up in the morning and they said, I've reached my goal. A successful person never ends. So even if you reach your goal, I want you to take the next level.
Yeah.
We are not perfect human beings. Our bodies aren't perfect. Even if you're really skinny, there is something in your body that you still need to work on. That's the difference between what I try to do with people and just doing a diet for 30 days, 2 months, and see you later. I help people perfect the imperfections in their body. I give them empowerment, and you did that because you wanted to. You made the choice and you worked your butt off. And I can fully verify that I have never had a hardworking person than you in this whole time.
Oh, really?
I promise you. I
Thank
promise. Especially that where the beginning was, and you know how difficult it was for both of us to get the thoughts out of our heads of failure and not be able to do it. But I can honestly tell you that I've never, ever had somebody more resilient, more tough, more mentally stable than you. Going to India in the middle of our program and coming back skinnier, that was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like literally unbelievable. And if you can do that, there is nothing that could ever stop you.
And you
Don't ever feel... Go on, sorry.
Right. I said, and it's not just about that. If I can do it, anybody can.
That's right.
Yeah.
So keep going. Don't ever feel sorry for yourself that it's been a year and you're still not there. 4 years for me. I am there, but now I'm bored of where I am.
Yeah.
I want to get to an exceptional level that I had to come out of my own comfort zone to get there, which is I've never done cardio for more than 2-3 weeks at a time. But this time here, it's 10 weeks now I'm doing cardio because I want to do something different. Yeah. So even if you get to a perfect stage where you're happy and everybody's like, wow, you look so good. You, by developing this never happy approach and constantly hungry, you'll find that your nature now, this nature of being a lioness is taken over and you're never going to be satisfied. I don't want to take any more of your time. I really thank you. You've been gracious, classy, kind, and one of the best people I've ever worked with and one of the kindest people I've ever seen. Thank you so, so much for all your help, and God bless you, and you make sure that you never, ever, ever, ever give up. Yep. All right?
Well, thank you, Max, for everything. Really, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very, very much. All right, Prats. Thanks for your help.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.